Welcome to the How Did Show, where interesting people answer the questions, how did I get here? And how in the hell did I get here? With your host, Donovan Corneets.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing great, man. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the How Did Show. And man, we got a good one for you today. Today's guest is a well-known radio personality, highly sought-after host, and all-around tastemaker for the culture. You can hear him gracing the airwaves on SiriusXM's Hip Hop Nation and Eminem's Shade 45. He's also hosted SiriusXM's coverage of huge events like Coachella and Lollapalooza. Everybody, please give it up for my man, Gray Rizzy. What's going on?
What's going on, Donovan? You know what?
Up in there.
You did record this, right? Because you know I'm gonna ask for a copy of it because I'm definitely using that. I gotta use that as an intro or something.
It's all
every
good.
show.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait to hear it. You got it. What's going on, man? How are you doing? How's life?
I'm pretty good, man. I hit the wrong button on my chair. Hold on, there we go. I'm back up. I'm doing good, man. You know, it's funny around here in New York City right now because of everything that's going on. It's starting to open back up, so you seeing people outside. They're kind of looking around, testing the waters. So it's getting back to some normalcy, which I'm really happy about.
That's good. Yeah, man. I definitely miss NY, man. I'm a native New Yorker and Brooklyn born. So anytime I can get back to the city, I love to feel that energy. But I know it's been real crazy lately.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like some of your favorite restaurants now are outside and bus stops. You feel what I'm saying?
But it's like little, like handmade tents and stuff, cabins outside. It's so, hey, man, you got to adjust. You got to pivot.
It's a lot of DIY action going on.
Not just plexiglass with screws in it and 2x4s. Yeah, that's what's up. You got to get it done. But thank you so much for being on the show, man. We kind of met through SiriusXM when I was brought on as a imaging voice for Pandora Now. I think that's how we first kind of linked up. And I've been following you since then, man, doing great things and just seeing you more and more on more platforms, more stages, and interviewing some huge people, man. So real proud of everything you've accomplished, bro.
Look, it's not just me, man. You as well. I'm hearing you a lot, moving through these SiriusXM Pandora halls. I listen to everything, whether it's in the car or on the app or on Pandora's side. So, yeah, congratulations to you too, bro.
Hey, you know what? I'll take that. I appreciate that, brother. But yes, let's get this thing going, bro. So yes, this is the How Did Show. So we're gonna kick this thing off with you answering. Gray Rizzy, How did you get here?
By accident. totally by accident, man. I didn't one of the things, and I'll just say this real quick about the field that you're in. Obviously, you knew where you wanted to go with it. You excelled with it. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are really looking to you for a lot of information, including myself, when it comes to voiceovers. When it came to doing radio, it was all by accident. I have a good friend here in New York City. His name is DJ Self from Brooklyn, known worldwide now. But he had got a show on Sirius before the merger. Okay. And I remember we used to do parties together. So I used to go up and, see him do the show because he used to be bored. Like, yo, I want some people to come through. Just come through. The reason why I went was because, yo, you got to DJ my party later. So I know if I'm here, I could get you to the party on time.
There you go.
And the opportunity, that kind of grew into, hey, we got this VIP crew, so to speak, because the show was called VIP Saturdays. So that kind of had like a club feel to it. Not that it was a club inside the studio, but it just had energy in it.
Party vibe.
Exactly. People throwing jokes across the room, little drinks here and there, getting ready, pre-gaming for when we really go out to the club, but giving that energy to all the listeners. But in the beginning, that wasn't by no means was that something that I wanted to use as a launch pad to get on radio. It all really happened by accident, but the opportunity came. And at the time, it was just the right time. And I was interested. And there was a lot of stuff that I had did in the past that kind of prepared me for this without me even knowing.
What was the opportunity that got you on the air at SiriusXM? And was SiriusXM your first radio gig?
It was my first radio gig.
Wow.
Let me see. Everybody wanted to be on the box. And the box at that time, when it came to hip hop, was Hot 97. Sure. I had friends that worked at Hot 97. I have friends currently that work at both Power 105 here in New York City. But the opportunity was really just being, what do they say? The best ability is availability.
Right.
And in so many different ways, I was at the right place at the right time. And when the opportunity came, I was ready for it. I didn't even know if I was ready for it at the time.
So how did that come up? Like what was it where it's like, hey, look, man, I got a show, or I know somebody, they need somebody on air, so just come up? Or did you like elevator pitch somebody in the hall? Like how did you actually make that happen?
And I know people will probably go look at this and be like, yo, it can't be that easy. And it wasn't easy. Don't get me wrong. This is over some time. I'm talking about, I want to say from like 2005, 2006, okay. I really didn't get my own show until like 2014, 2015. Like in between all this time, I was part of another show, but my show, it was someone else's show.
I got you.
Once that person started to move on, we held that person down. So once DJ Self started to move on, me and another DJ named Superstar J, we held Self down, and we held that show VIP Saturdays down on SiriusXM, which is on Eminem Shade 45. Hey, but the actual opportunity, that came later on, man. That came like when I started to go into having my own opportunities. And, by that time, that's the growth of it all. And knowing the direction that I really want to go into, that didn't happen till like probably about 2016, 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, definitely a testament to staying on your grind and just putting good content out there, man. Like your talent will speak for you. That's dope. So I know you mentioned you're from the Bronx, right?
Absolutely.
The BX in the his
yes,
house.
Sir.
So how would you say that like the Bronx has influenced you and who you are like as a person, but even more so like who you are on the air as a personality?
You know what? This is a very, very good question. I actually just did something for this for a company. I grew up. Okay, so first of all, I grew up in the South Bronx. I pretty much grew up where hip hop is born. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. You just referenced KRS-One, who was literally I'm not talking about blocks. I'm talking about down the block. We're on the same block, just on the other side of the block.
Wow. Okay.
I grew up in between DITC. So I'm talking about Lord Finesse, Diamond D. We all went to the same elementary school, not at the same time, but we all went to the same elementary school.
It counts. It counts.
Yeah, it does. It still counts. Fat Joe, Showbiz, AG. And then on the other side, I have people like Tim Dog, Ultramagnetic MCs. On the other side of the Bronx, you got Nice and Smooth. There's all this stuff going on at the same time. And I can't forget about, people like, cool, not so much Kool Moe Dee, but like Grandmaster Flash and, our elders, our forefathers that really started it. These guys were around all the time. I was seeing them all the time because in where I lived at, that was the thoroughfare, like people coming through. So, it raised me. It put it like this: while everybody else is talking about hip hop as a fad, I'm living this in real time. I don't know what they're talking about. That's older talk for me, but this is all this type of energy, and I want to say like being able to experience all that set me up for the revolution of where you started to see that change and where hip hop started to become, the sought after music. And this is before the dominant music, but this is the sought after music. And I got to see that in real life, in real time. Yeah,
that's dope, man. I had even though I was born in Brooklyn, I only lived there till I was 8. My family moved up to Newburgh, New York, and that's kind of where I lived until I was 20. But even being, and that's a quick ride on the Hudson line. But like I got to kind of see through my sister, who was a little bit older than me, and my own experience, like the growth of hip hop, of like it only played at certain times on a radio station, or only played during Yo MTV Raps. It didn't play all the time. It wasn't pop music by any means. And then kind of seeing it grow to what it is now, the number one like music on the planet, which is kind of wild to kind of see that that transition. And that's dope that you kind of saw it, like you were right there, grassroots, man. That's really dope.
When you think about it, and I don't know how many people really know their history and stuff like that. But I think it was probably Mr. Magic, who was playing like an hour worth of hip hop. And he wasn't, I don't think, maybe Mr. Magic wasn't I'm not sure if it was Mr. Magic. It was one person that was like he's a all-star, like a legend in radio, but he was only giving an hour You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And this was like on a Friday or a Saturday night. To see where it's at right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's just out of this world.
Yeah, man. It's definitely incredible. And again, man, that's so dope that you grew up like right there in fertile ground where it was all going down. So real quick, I know you've interviewed tons of people, right? From all levels in the industry. Has there ever been a time where even you've been starstruck during the interview?
Have I ever fanned out in front of somebody?
Fanboyed? Like before, even if you didn't show it, but inside you were like, oh, I can't believe this.
I can't. All right. So the great thing about being around a lot of this when you're younger is that when you're seeing people like Run DMC and LL Cool J, KRS-One, these figures that are like legends, icons, we're talking about the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
By the time I started, seeing people more on a regular basis, because not only that I grow up in the culture, like I grew up with family members and very close friends of my family who actually worked in the business.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff I was able to see, you know what I'm saying? I never really fanned out over anybody. Like I've been in the same room as Michael Jackson at one time. And I was young, but at the same time, it wasn't like I wasn't the guy in the front of the concert, like, oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
They're passing you over the crowd, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get you out of there. Always respectful and definitely, very aware of what these people meant in music. I guess you could say the only person that's not to say I don't get nervous. To me, I have this saying, and somebody said it to me at one point, and I just took it. If you're not nervous, if you ain't got no butterflies, you ain't alive. That's the exciting part of being able to work in whatever you work in.
Right.
I would guess maybe it was a conversation I had with Shaq one time. And not, you got to remember, like Shaq has since retired. He got his rings. It still has to do with music because we had an interview at Lollapalooza and he was actually there as a DJ.
Doing the DJ thing,
Diesel. Yeah, DJ Diesel, right? And it's one thing to see Shaq. I've gone to enough games. I've seen Shaq play multiple times. It's another thing to be standing like right next to him.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like Shaq? Your head is here and his head is here. And he shakes your hand and like literally I could have put both my hands in his one hand and it wouldn't have been a problem. They both would have disappeared.
Yeah.
I think I was the conversation I was looking forward to, but I underestimated, like, damn, like there's no way Dikembe Mutombo, any of these centers had a chance when they played. So
especially like younger and in shape.
Forget about it. I much would have rather went up against Orlando Magic Shaq than last of the trilogy at the Lakers Shaq. That was a difference. No,
it's ridiculous. Beast mode.
Yeah.
Well, cool. No, I could see how Shaq would be a little intimidating. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For sure. All right. And the last little piece I got to know, where did We outCHEA? How did that come to be? Because that's kind of like your mantra now, I guess. You know what I mean? That's part of your whole vibe. So how did We outCHEA come to be?
So We outCHEA is definitely, I got some really close friends out from New Orleans. I used to hear it a lot. I mean, everybody's heard it a million times. I don't know if they know it's from out there. At least to me, it's from out there because of what I used to always hear from them, as well as Cash Money, as well as No Limit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of times we'll say stuff up here in the city, this coming up from Brooklyn, jumping off the stoop, which is the same as jumping off the porch down south. You know what I'm saying? So we jumping off the stoop was a little bit too long. So I went with We outCHEA. And one of the reasons is because I want to make it where no matter what the conversation it is that I'm having, I always wanted to be comfortable. No matter what city, no matter what state I'm pulling up in, I got a friend there and we're going to have, we could have a good time. And I always feel welcome no matter where I go, because that's the same type of energy that I give to people when I meet them the first time. So those open invites are really what spawned We outCHEA. You know what I'm saying? So when people be like, yo, where you at? We outCHEA, baby. Come on now, just pull up. Yeah.
That's dope. And I see you got it there in the back.
Yes,
representing. Sir. There you go. Well, cool, man. That's really dope, man. And again, man, congrats on everything that you've accomplished. And once again, I can see Shaq being one of those where you're like, you think you're ready, But then you see him, you're like, this brother got on like size 22 shoes. You know what I mean? Like, that don't even sound right.
Yeah, there's so much going through your mind. And you know what? Yeah, it's like, yo, bro, I don't even know how to compare.
Yeah, I don't even understand what's going on here, bro. Right. And then, like don't even let him stand on his money. He's another 10 feet tall, right? But but check it out. So now what we're gonna do, it's time for
the Wheel of What?
I'm gonna bring this thing out right here. We'll bring it out here. And so we're gonna spin this and just give me an honest answer with whatever we get. All right.
Copy. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Let's spin this thing.
There it is. Where are we landing?
We got first celebrity crush.
Wow. Oh man. All right. So this movie, if you're young, you need to watch this movie because it's like one of the greatest movies ever. And I think it was done. I want to say Barry Gordy has something to do with this movie, The Last Dragon, right? Last Dragon with this was filmed in Harlem, right?
Okay.
And I believe that's Apollonia. Is that Apollonia? Is that I think.
Hold on. You know
the
what?
Love interest. Whoever the love interest is, it's her.
I know it's right. That it's right on the tip of my tongue. I know who you're talking about though. Yeah. Go ahead and do a quick Google search. We got
I'm on there right now.
No, it's not
I gotta see this. Let me see. Hold on. Who's the
gosh. As soon as you say it, it's gonna be like,
Vanity.
Yes,
it was Vanity, not Apollonia, but Apollonia that could have been a close 1B.
She was bad as well.
You know
yes.
Yeah. And let me tell you where a lot of it stems from. My mother, my mother's no longer with us anymore, but I remember my mother telling me one time, because she used to bartend here in New York City.
Okay.
She had dated Prince a couple of times. Like, once you get old enough, you be like, man, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, whatever.
So my cousin's older than me. He remembers this. He remembers seeing him.
Wow.
It's like, oh shoot, okay, word. So by that time, like he was into Prince and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, man, I really like this cat's move. All right, I see the women. He's talented. Yeah, I mess with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like it was Vanity, and at that point in my life, I had a type. You know what I'm saying? It could have been Vanity, it could have been Apollonia, it could have been Shirley. I definitely had a type.
You had a definite prototype. There you go.
Right.
Hey, look, Vanity,
right. But I blame Prince for all this.
You know what? Prince could be blamed for a lot of people's fantasies on all sides, it seems.
This is true.
Like, that's actually my wife's all-time favorite artist is Prince, and rest in peace to him. But went to see Prince in concert in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was it was dope, but it was a really weird experience to see Prince in concert with your wife, who's like a huge fan of. So like, I'm there, I'm enjoying the music, and I'm looking over, and she's not enjoying just the music, like she's enjoying being in this dude's presence, like right next to me. And he was singing Little Red Corvette a cappella, just him and like a guitar, and they did a zoom in of him, and it was on the big screen, and she let out a noise that I was not really pleased to hear come out of my spouse, like, and I was like, hold up, whoa, wait a damn minute, like I'm right here, babe.
Right.
Then I really couldn't be mad, you know what I mean? And it was crazy because it was like all ages, all races, all backgrounds were all doing the same thing, making the same noises when they did a close-up on this brother's face. So
I mean, if it got to be anybody down it got, Prince is not a bad person.
It's one of those things where you're like, I would be upset, but I understand.
Exactly. You got to hold that one. You just you
just got to take that L, man, and you just keep it moving. But yeah, definitely a good answer. All right, so now we'll go to the second part of the How This Show, and that's a story where maybe you were out of your comfort zone, caught off guard, ended up somewhere or with someone where you're like, okay, this is not me. Or it could be on the other end where you're like, you know what? I can't believe I made it here. So what is your answer to how the hell did I get here?
You know what? Growing up here, you can find yourself in a lot of those situations. Like, how did I get here, fam?
Hey,
like,
man.
damn, man. You make not even a real left or a real right, just a slight veer off, and it can just change the trajectory of so many things. But the I would say, just keeping it in the mode of arriving. when it comes to being here on on SiriusXM, it was a conversation, an interview that we had with Sean Puff Daddy P Diddy Brother Love Combs, right? Somebody who I'm very familiar with. Like one of my first internships was at Uptown Records, and this is before Bad Boy even started.
So you weren't having to get cheesecake or nothing across?
No. If anything, I was like, y'all got it easy going to get some cheesecake. All you gotta do is walk. That's not a big deal. Okay. But I want to say there was a conversation, and I remember having this. I was telling my partner about it, and I was like, yo, I'm going for it. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, yo, I'm going for it. Like, I'm going for it. Like, I'm not going to hold back on this conversation because who knows when we'll have, this was like one of our first big interviews, just me and Superstar J on VIP Saturdays on Shade 45. Okay. And I said, you know what? I'm not holding back. Right. I know this guy. I mean, we're not the best of friends. I'm not going to, front like that. No cap, as the young guys say, young kids. But it's one of those things of like, I'm not holding back. I know more about this guy than most people know about themselves because I've been in situations where I was there. And if anything, it's the point that the fact that I've been in all of these situations in real life, like I've been in these rooms, I've experienced this, I've seen this for myself. That's what's going to set me apart from a lot of different people. Right. So I said, I just had a real conversation with him, and the conversation, I'll give you this link, D, so you can look at it yourself. Me and Puff were going at it. Respectfully. Oh, okay. And he agreed with me where I challenged him on, what you're doing is not you. And if anybody knows you, it's the class that I come from or the people I'm with, because we were there when you built that sound and when you presented it to the world. And he agreed with that. Real quick,
give me another restart. Sorry.
Damn, my bad.
It's all right. You can just keep going. Trust me, my video guy is amazing. He'll make it.
He's a beast. Shout out to the video guy. Thank you, man.
Shout out to Chico.
Chico, what up? If anything, I challenged Puff on his music not sounding like what he's built, because I came from that. You know what I'm saying? The people that I was around and that was with him, that's how he built it. So I would know. And he agreed with that part. But what I questioned and I challenged him on was like, are you really you again? And we were going back and forth. And the thing about this is that what I had to learn in doing interviews and learn in the process of doing these things is that it's a dance. It's like a tango. Absolutely. Like there's a push, there's a pull, and you got to wait for your cues and stuff like that. And it got so back and forth, like it was at a high level. My partner at the time was trying to find a way, to jump in, which he found a way to jump in, but it was like a mean game of double dutch.
I was gonna say double dutch, like
McDonald's championship level double dutch. You dig me? So we had it was really a good time. And that conversation, and when I say, yo, how did I get here? Like, damn, I hope I didn't mess up. At the end of that interview, Puff was like, look, I don't know who, who's running things over here, but you need to look at this guy. You need to take this guy serious. And shortly after that, that's when I started to get the opportunity to host something small, a countdown, but that was the beginning of a lot of big opportunities. And that was because of an interview with Puff. Definitely.
Well, look, man, that's really a dope story. And I mean, you hear it all the time, but you got to go for it, man.
Absolutely.
You got to take your shot. I mean, even me starting this show was kind of like, with quarantining and Zoom and everything. And then I started to realize, like, I know some really dope people just over the course of my career. And I said, you know what? This has been an idea for well over a year. I'm gonna just go for it, man. I know it's not something that's gonna blow up overnight, but I tell you what, man, it's so cool to be in touch with people that I've met through different, courses of my life and my career. But everybody has such a dope story, man. And so I decided to just go for it. And kind of make it happen. So yeah, shout out to you for taking that shot. Who knows where you would have ended up if you didn't take that shot? You know what I mean?
Right. But let me ask you
longer. But
let me ask you this question: like with everything that you've achieved, whether it be in voiceover, voice acting, all of these things, placements on major commercials, hearing yourself, on radio all the time. Like when you decided to take that jump, it feels foreign. But now that you're in and you found pretty much your stride, aren't you happy about it? Do you look back at it like, damn, what did I wait so long for? You know what I'm
You know
saying?
what, man? That's a good question. By the way, the tables have turned on the
Yes, they have.
interviewee.
Yeah.
That's actually a really, really good question. And absolutely, man. Like, I knew I wanted to do what I'm doing at about age 24. I'll say I'm 42 now, I just turned 42, but I knew at like 24 that I said, and I told my wife, we were dating at the time. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but this is going to be my full-time job at some point. Like, I'm going to provide for my family doing this. Mm-hmm. And at the time that was like pipe dream, like, but one day, and it was all about like the sacrifice and the learning and the growing and all kinds of things that I did to kind of get myself in a position where I could really do this at a high level. And then, once the opportunity started to come, it was kind of validating. And it wasn't that I needed anyone else's validation. It was validation by the results that were happening. Right. Right. And then in 2010, I got laid off from a job I had. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna try to make this thing happen. And I haven't looked back since, man. And I've grown every year since then. It's been an amazing journey. And I tell people all the time, like when I coach them, I'm like, look, when you're practicing, when you're sacrificing, when you're paying for coaching and workshops and all this stuff, yes, it's a sacrifice. Yes, you have to kind of stick with it. But I'm telling you, if this is your dream, it's worth it. Like, it is so worth it. If you stick with it and ride this thing out, it's going to be worth it. So yeah, man, I live that every day, man. I'll be honest with you, man. Every day is like a pinch me day. Like, I mean, like, I can't believe it. Every day for me is like, how the hell did I get here? Like, truly, man, like the people that I've interacted with, met with, I mean, starting voiceover on a dorm toilet, literally sitting on a dorm toilet doing voiceover with a TV dinner table, to being the promo voice of Today's Show on NBC in my home studio. You know what I mean? Like, it's a wild ride, bro. Like, it's a wild ride. I've done movie trailers and BET, VH1, ESPN, HGTV, all these things, man. Name drop, flex on them. But
go ahead.
But no, for real, man. Like, I'm so thankful for every opportunity. But I also know, like this wouldn't have happened if I didn't take a whole lot of blind leaps. You know what I mean? You
got to step out on faith.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, yes. And a really long way to answer your question. Yes.
There's a couple of things, because I've had like some of the weirdest jobs, that have been out there, whether it be like, just kind of trying to make it to the next paycheck or having a great corporate job. But one thing that I picked up in sales is always be closing, right? It's a contact sport. The more doors you knock on, the better chance you have of one opening up. And I'll share a quick story. Like, I remember I was we were about to go to an event. I forget what city we were in. I was with two friends of mine. One was a little younger than us. One was kind of the same. We're the same age, but one is very reserved. He's very reserved. I'm more of the outgoing one. And he was telling us like, yo, we were in different hotels. We met him at his hotel. And he was like, yo, Ice Cube is here. It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, word, Ice Cube is here. That's dope. It's one of my favorite rappers of all time, man.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, for real, man. Westside. So I said to him, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go try to get a picture with him, because he actually came downstairs. He was by the bar. And he was like, yo, he don't really want to take any pictures. And I was like, yo, you his manager or something? Like,
yeah.
Why are you knocking this down before I even try? What's up?
Exactly.
And he was like, nah, because I saw a couple of people earlier. I was like, all right, cool. So I put my phone on the table. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna go over and talk with him. I introduced myself. He was, slightly familiar with what I do and who I am and stuff. We chopped it up for about 5 minutes. And I said, hey, man, would you mind, taking a picture with me? And he let me down very politely. I was, hey, man, I totally understand, but I'm already at no. Let me go ahead and at least try. And let me try with some type of familiarity. I'm not cold calling here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not running up and taking the picture. Exactly. So when I come back to the table, he was like, yo, did you get the picture? I was like, nah, I didn't get the picture. He's like, see, I told you. And then I looked at our young boy and I was like, did you take the picture? And he put up the phone and he like this. And I said, see, there's different ways you can get things. You know what I'm saying? I much rather have that in the moment, very candid moment of us talking, don't get me wrong. If we're looking at the picture, that's great too. But I got that for me. I didn't get that so much for anyone else.
Yeah,
and he looked at me and he smiled. And that's something that I learned in this journey. Closed mouths are not going to get fed, but
absolutely.
You got to open up your mouth, but you also got to want to put forth the effort.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's a really dope story because I had a very similar experience with T.I., who I've been a fan of since I'm serious, right? And I ended up being the voice of his show on BET, Grand Hustle. You know, being that I'm outside of the Atlanta area now, I went to an event. I got invited to an event that was the year anniversary of the show, and I was like, yo, I want to get a picture with T.I. Like, he's here, you know what I mean? And I went up to him and I did the same thing. I was like, hey, but see, I wasn't as smart as you were. I was like, hey, would you, like, can I get a picture? And I went kind of gung ho with it. But I mean, I wasn't like rude or anything, but I definitely was like, yo. And I somehow managed to get the picture, but he was really like, yo, chill, bro. And I got the picture and you can see it's real blurry. And he's just like kind of making his face like, what are you doing? And so I talked to him afterwards. It was just him out in like this little area. And I said, hey, look, man, I apologize for before. I didn't mean to get all in your face. I apologize, but I just wanted to say hello, blah, 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 and tell you about, I was the voice of your show. And he was like, by the way, like how he is, like, that's how he is in like regular. I don't know if you've interviewed him or not, but it was just like real quick, like, hey, man, yeah, like, look, I got people here, like their job is to take pictures. Like, why would you like get in my face to try to take a selfie? He's like, nah, man, just play it cool and let the vibes carry you, bro, or something like that, right? And I'm just like, okay. And sure enough, and we end up having really like a really quick 5, 6, 7 minute conversation just in general about the show and whatever, just like really casual conversation. And I just thanked him for his time and kept it moving. No selfies, no nothing. Sure enough, the very next day, photographer that I saw him there taking pictures. I had went to him afterwards. I was like, hey, man, like you got a site that those pictures are going to be on? Sure enough, the next day it was up with his little, watermark on it, crystal clear, HD, wonderful pictures of just like me and T.I. kicking it. And that was so much more impactful and so like cool to have that. Cause then that's not like some fan do. It's like, you're actually having a conversation with T.I. You're not just some random fan running up like, T.I. And so that's wild that we had like similar experiences, although at least you had the warning and the wherewithal, the forethought to not be a clown like I was. So by the way, T.I., if ever you get this, my bad, bro, again. But it was like a life lesson, man, because one of the things he did tell me was like, hey, look, man, like act like you're supposed to be here, bro. Like you got an invitation. So obviously you belong here. Like act like it.
And we all got to get to that point, we all got to get to that point.
T.I., I appreciate that, brother. And that was it. And I've lived by that ever since then. So anyway, man. So thank you so much for joining me on the show. This was really dope. Real quick, man, how can people get in touch with you? When and where can they hear you, listen to you, see you, all of that good stuff?
You want the radio voice, or you want?
I want all. Hey, man, give it to them. Give the people a taste.
I don't got no radio voice, man. And I do want to say this. What we just said in the stories that we just gave you, it's not about the picture. It's about the experience. And Absolutely. It's about taking that experience and then growing from it. Don't worry about 100%. The picture. Because they'd be like, yo, you did all that for a picture? No, it's not for the gram. This is something bigger than that. Hopefully you caught all of that. Catch me on Hip Hop Nation. That's on SiriusXM channel 44, Monday through Friday. That's 12 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, 9 a.m. out there on the West Coast. On the late night side of things, you can catch me on Eminem Shade 45, channel 45, Tuesday through Fridays. That's midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. I also do specials all the time. In fact, I got one coming up, album snapshot specials on Shade 45 that we usually do on Fridays. You can follow me on the gram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Fanbase, my YouTube. Everything is at Gray Rizzy, GrayRizzy.
That's what's up, bro. Thank you so much again for your time, man. This is really cool. I'm so glad we finally got a chance to kind of rap one-on-one. And yeah, man, keep doing your thing, man. I love hearing you on the radio and kind of having that like, oh, I know that guy. So yeah, man, good for you, bro. I wish you all the best.
Same here, and thank you for the time, brother. For real, I'm gonna be around in the Carolinas soon. We gonna make sure we get this lunch. But look, if you got like all of these
I'm outside of ATL now, baby. So
you right out of ATL? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm always down there, brother. I got a couple spots. You know what I'm saying?
Hit me up.
You know, you the voice of all these networks. Lunch on you first.
All right, deal. Absolutely, man. Well, cool. Thank you so much, man. Be easy.
My brother.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me for the How Did Show. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment. And definitely be sure to look out for more new episodes coming very soon. Peace.